Literally, it's the whatever Americans were left abandon the bases. They leave the ship behind. The Taliban's, taking propaganda videos with all this shit. They're in the old president's house at his desk.
Yeah.
And anyone who was pulled out who did not make it out on one of those Apache helicopters or whatever, they went to the airport. How big is this airport? How many people were there? Who was there? Let's start there. Like what was going on?
So this is about 16 days before the U.S. completely pulled out. That's when the government that we had put in place, it's called the Republic, that fell, and Taliban basically took over everything. And they took over the presidential palace, and the U.S. Embassy still has all of its staff. So the priority for USG is to move all of the embassy staff. Well, if you see that Chinook helicopters going from the embassy to the airport, that's when they were transferring all of the embassy staff. And that's the largest embassy in the world that we have.
Really? I didn't know that.
So Afghanistan embassy is the largest in the world that we have. And there were a lot of people, at least 5,000-6,000 people just at the embassy. So they were trying to move those people. And it became chaotic very quickly. The Kabul airport is tiny. It's only one runway. They only have one runway. One plane can take off or land at a time. So it's not very big. It's probably the size of a small town airport in America.
If that. Yeah.
If that. It has a total of 3 terminals. Well, terminal in America means a little bit more. It has basically 3 planes can be loaded or offloaded at one time.
Yes.
So, and then one plane can fly or land at one time. So, and then it only has one entrance, that's civilian entrance. It had 3 military entrances, but it only has one civilian entrance. So everybody rushed that one entrance. And since all of the security, the military, everybody had left, had just abandoned all of their position, it was basically open season for the civilians to take over the runway. So the civilians basically overran the airport, and they were on the tarmac.
And these are effectively, not to be too obvious here, but to go back to your initial roundabout numbers, we're talking about members of the 5 million of the 40 who hate the Taliban and are horrified at what's about to happen.
Exactly. So they are like clinging to planes. Planes can't take off. Apaches are doing like very low flies, and nobody is bothering. And that's when we, I think, sent 4,000 additional troops to clear the runway.
Just to the airport.
Just to the airport. And that didn't help at all, because when they got, it was too late. How'd
we get the troops in there? Did we fly them on a plane?
Yeah, they flew on a plane, but at the time the runway was already cleared, and it was cleared at a very unconventional way. But I'll keep that at that.
You can't talk about that?
No.
Okay.
So the runway is cleared, but the people who had overrun the airport, about 25,000, remained there, and they basically sat them down in the different, basically the spaces that were there for planes. They kept them there, and then instead of just kicking them out of the airport, they started flying them out. So they have these C-17s that they were filling with 900 people.
Yeah, I'll put one of those pictures in the corner. I remember some of those images. It's wild.
So they started putting them on the planes, and now once they secured all of the perimeters of the airport, millions of people continued to go towards the airport, because they were like, it was basically everybody heard that there are American planes and they're taking everybody to the U.S.
Was there any concern? I mean, I remember thinking this at the time, but I didn't really know what the logistics were with, some of the attempted diplomacy, I guess, with huge air quotes there, you could say. But was there concern about these planes being shot out of the sky?
I mean, most people think that it all just happened in a vacuum. We were talking to the Taliban, and basically, like, the USG was talking to the Taliban, and there was an understanding, and the Taliban were allowing it. The Taliban were providing security for the airport. The Taliban were not letting bad actors to go to the airport.
They were providing security for the airport where all these people who were screaming and crying, trying to get the fuck away from them, being afraid of being killed if they help the Americans at all, also are.
Yeah, at this point, because, I mean, Taliban at this point were victorious. They just got a country and to themselves, and they didn't care about like a bunch of people, and they didn't want to show that on the news as well. They didn't want people to see, because there was so much coverage at the time as well. The Taliban didn't really want people to see the coverage of masses of people getting killed.
Thank you for watching the video, guys. Please hit that subscribe button and check out this clip's full podcast episode by clicking here or in the description below.